Okay, an intro. I don't have one. That's the intro. Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. Today what I thought that I would do, since I got a lot of good comments and reviews from my annotations video, I thought that I would make something a little bit similar, but this time it's about my reading journal and what I do in my reading journal. I thought that I would just do like a brief overview of what I keep in my reading journal, different things that I track, and just how much upkeep I put into it, as well as my tried and true supplies that I use. Keeping a reading journal has just been so fun for me. It's been very therapeutic and like relaxing. It's my place where I keep everything recorded. I don't keep everything on Goodreads. Like, that's not an accurate number of books that I've read. This has all the books that I've read. I started doing it last year in November, and so this is my first reading journal I've ever kept. I thought that I would just go through and talk about the things that what I started doing, and then versus now what I continue doing, really the way that I use my reading journal. I thought that I would show you guys that. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Very first thing, supplies. And really the big supply is your reading journal. This is a bullet journal. I got it off of Amazon. It's an A5 bullet journal. The brand is Stationery Island. It was like only $10 on Amazon. I always start off with the most simple stuff. Everything that I already have. Like I try and gather supplies for my house, so then I'm not spending money on a potential hobby that I don't keep up. That's why I went with this journal. And the nice thing about it is it's got that kind of binding where it will flip completely open and like lay flat. Like that was one of the things that people had said when bullet journaling, is that you want something that's going to like lay flat for you. That's what I saw about this one. And it's been really great. It's this faux leather bound, just black one. It comes in many different colors, and it's got two little bookmarks with it, as well as it's got this little band thing to help you keep it closed. And then it also comes with envelope pocket sleeve in the back. So this is what I use as my journal. And then something else that is extremely important are writing utensils. I have two different pens here. These are Pilot G2 pens, and I have them in size 1.0, so this is my thicker, and then I have a 0.5. I also have mechanical pencils. This is really great for just marking things out. This is the BIC Velocity in 0.9. I also have a glue stick. This is just your Elmers All Purpose glue stick. I also have a few different options of washi tape or just craft tape. I don't use these all that often, and honestly I don't use them enough to want to get any more than just a few at a time. I also have these really fun gel pen type pens. I've got a white one, I've got a gold one, and I've got a silver one. These are really great when adding like different accents. They're Uniball Signo Broad, and I'm not seeing a size on them or anything. I feel like these are pretty average general ones that you can find anywhere. Then I also have a ruler. This is very important to make straight edges. And then really the only other thing that I use a lot are markers, and these are just the Crayola Super Tip markers. It's just a 20 pack. So yeah, this is basically all that I use. I will include in this back pocket section, I keep an envelope with book picks, and what I do is I just find the books that I want off of Goodreads, and then I put them in a Word document, and then I just print them off on just regular computer paper. And the size that I use, 0.8 or 0.9 inch width, and then the height just goes to whatever. I'll put the dimensions that I use on here. And again, I don't put that in a Word document, I put it in a Google document. And so it automatically just changes the size to be proportional, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is all that I use generally. Let's go ahead and just get into the actual journal. When I started, mainly what I wanted to use it for was for reviews, which is still mainly what I use it for. I'll show you a spread that is pretty common throughout my entire journal. This is pretty common as far as my journal setup. So I put 3 different sections on each page and then do little sections for where I put the title and the author and then the actual review. And then I also like to keep track of genres. So I put a little genre marker down at the bottom and then my star rating, and I mark my star rating based off of the color scheme that I set up for myself. Most of my pages they look like this. And it's great because it doesn't require too much thinking to set up a page like this. I usually do like some type of little border, like this one's just polka dots. Month before, like these different colored X's. Month before, just like these lines. And so, yeah, like it just adds a different flavor to each one, but really the setup is all the same. At the beginning of each month, I have my month page, which this one honestly is not my favorite one. Like it's fine. I have the month written down and then I have my TBR written, which this past month I didn't do a TBR. I just did a little header. It's because I was finding I just was continually failing when it came to my TBRs. And so I was a little bit over it. This is another beginning of the month. Here's December. See, I did like a fun page like this that was just all basically scrapbook and washi tape. Really, I don't do pages like this anymore because I'm trying to fit my entire year into this one journal. And so I just don't have the space to do fun pages like this anymore. But you can. Like this is pretty common, I think, in a lot of other book journals, is just having like fun pages like this. I'll show you an example of one that I really like. Is this spread that is specific to Kingdom of the Wicked. Like I printed off these different pictures and different things from Pinterest to add to this, and this was when I was rereading the first 2 books of Kingdom of the Wicked and then finally reading the last book for the first time. And so this was just fun to create. Just a fun spread that is specific to Kingdom of the Wicked, just to give it an extra standout. And then the other thing that I add every month that I like to keep track of are my wrap-ups. And so at the end of the month, like the end of last month, I did a full wrap-up. And the way I do this is I do ebooks that I've read and my final rating for them. So that is something where maybe in the heat of the moment I rated a book something, but now upon further review I want to rate it differently. I rate it differently. So I have ebooks, I've got rereads, and I've got new titles. I typically also have a section for audiobooks as well. I make note of how many I've read in total, and I've done this fun thing where I do favorite reads and then most surprising reads. So that's the one that like I was most surprised that either I enjoyed or it was different than I thought it was going to be, like that type of thing. And then I just put like a little blurb of a review on it. So most surprising read for March was Serpent and Dove, and my little blurb for it was Big Titty Liddy will never get old. If you've read Serpent and Dove, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, that's going to sound really strange, and apologies. Here's another one. This is like a full spread. I typically do a full spread, but because again, I'm trying to save space, I've started to condense it down. But here's like a full spread. I include like the total number of books typically. Again, favorite book, most surprising read, audiobooks, new titles, ebooks. Yeah. that is like my monthly what I do. However, there are the spreads that I keep for the whole year. Let's go through those. So this is the very beginning. I decided that I would devote a whole page to the beginning of 2023. This is my year end. This is the beginning of 2023. The next page that I did is an on my shelves page. This is basically all of the books that I already had on my physical TBR. I wanted to track which ones are already on my physical TBR, and I also wanted to make sure that I read all of them or I unhaul all of them by the end of this year. And so I have this green color for if I've read them, and then a red color if I've unhauled them. And then beside each of the books, there's like a little bubble that I can fill in. I still have quite a ways to go, but I'm pretty proud with what I've done so far. This is just a fun page. I really like it. It was really fun to design. My next page is my Goodreads goals page. All of my boxes of 100 books. That is my goal for the year, as well as some other goals like read/unhaul entire physical TBR, reread at least one book per month, read at least 2 nonfiction books for the whole year, and listen to 1 audiobook a month. I've already failed on like 2 of these. As you'll see, I'm already to 57 books for the year, and we're not even halfway through it. So I am going to demolish this year's 100 books. The next spread that I have is my Battle of the Books page for the year. This will be one that I won't be able to complete until the end of the year. So as you can see, I've got my January favorite, my February favorite. I need to put in my March favorite, and then each month after that. I did it for last year. This is what it looked like. What it does look like, as you can see, Circe 1. So basically that's what that'll look like once it's done. And then this other spread is I wanted to keep track of how many books I read per month. And then within that, the physical books that I read, the ebooks that I read, and the audiobooks. And so I have one for each month. And then at the end of the year, I'll fill that out. The next spread that I have are my 5-star reads of the year, and then also I wanted to account for all of my rereads as well. And so far I've got 2 for each. I really love this spread. I just think it's so pretty. A lot of other people do a lot more layering and different things when they do theirs, like they do more scrapbooking. That's just not really me. For me, that just takes a lot more time, and I like something more simple. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do book journaling. These are just all of the things that I like to keep track of. So you don't need to keep track of all of these things. You could just do reviews if you want to. This next spread, the first page are my anticipated releases of 2023. I have all the photos of them, and then I mark them when I have read them. So I've already completed The Stolen Heir, and then I also include the date that it's going to come out. So then I can kind of keep track of that, and I can kind of remember. The other page I have is my series tracker. These are all the series that I am in the middle of and I have started. You see, I'm in the middle of a lot of series, and most of these are fantasy series. So next spread that I have, this first page, is my TBR of the year. I like to keep my TBR fairly simple for the whole year, and I do something where each book is different. So I have my classic book that I want to read this year, a translated work, a long read, a graphic novel, a literary fiction book, a memoir, a nonfiction, a middle grade, and then a thriller. So this is just a part of my yearly TBR. These are all the books that I want to make sure that I get to. Other page is my annotations page. So again, kind of what I talked about last week during my annotations video is these are all like the thoughts and feelings around it. I used to use bigger tabs, and I wrote down what I would use them for. However, I don't really use them anymore. So this is a little bit obsolete now. And then my star key. These are the colors that I would use. I just do it as a rainbow. So my 1 star is the red all the way down to my 5 star, which is the purple. Another thing that I like to keep track of that I have been enjoying keeping track of is my genres. So I made this genres chart with all of the different genres listed and then all of them listed down here. As you can see, romance is definitely the winner. That is what I've read the most of, followed up by fantasy, my thrillers. But I try and do, this is just to keep in mind the different genres and that I want to read different genres. Like, this is to help me do that. And then I make note of my genre of the month and just which one I read the most of. And then I'm sure I'll do something down here. I just haven't decided yet. Something to do with the genres. Maybe it's a year-end thing that I do, but I just haven't decided yet. This is really the last yearly spread that I keep. It is books bought in 2023. So I decided I wanted to make a log of all the books that I buy within the year. And so I mark them based off of the type of medium they are. So whether or not they are an audiobook, a physical book, or an ebook. So then I remember, and then I write down the date that they were bought, and then these X's are when I've read them. So I've done, I think, pretty decent when it comes to keeping up with reading all the books that I buy. So yeah, those are like my yearly spreads that I keep. That's like really it as far as spreads. If you are just starting, these are kind of the different components to keep track of when you are making a spread. Like, this really helps me in terms of how to design a spread and make it look fun. The different components of this. We've got the border. I will always have a border on my page, whether or not that's me coloring it, drawing it, different things like that. Always a border. Then my title for the spread. I always do something fun, something different. So border, title, and then you also need to do a design for the actual content to go into. That's what these little sections are. So the way that I would number out, you know, how many books that I read, I would make that many slots open, and then the way I would do my rating on the side. So designing that, and usually I sketch that out with a pencil before I do anything else, and then actually putting in the content in the end. Starts off with a border, a title, the design in which the actual content is going to go into and how you're going to organize it, and then the content itself. So those 4 things. Let me show you another example of kind of what I'm talking about. My rereads. So as you can see, a border is what I did. The title, rereads. The design in which the content will go into, these different like little books, drawing all of those out. And then the actual content itself, bully, serpent, and dove. Does that make sense? Is that like simple? I hope that's simple. If you just do those things, if like you just think about those things, you can start making your book journal look like this in absolute no time. And then just put your own flavor on it. Do what you want. So that is my reading journal. I will put all of the supplies, and if I have links for supplies, I'll put that in my description as well. I hope that this video has been super helpful for anyone who wants to start reading journaling. You can really make this as simple or as wild as you want to. Oh my gosh, my throat is giving out on me. My voice is, I don't have a thing for it. So that is it for today's video. I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that this was fun. No one requested it or anything like that. I don't know if anyone who watches me really does book journaling, but if you do, or if you want to get into it, I hope that this was helpful. Let me know if you want any other tips or tricks that I use. Anyways, happy book journaling. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye!